Right, Math 7. Today is our last lesson of Chapter 12, which is conclusion of working with data known as statistics. As you may notice, terminology play a huge role, and we are going to focus on those with maybe an example of each. So here's what we're going to do. I always like to use a little flow chart. So I'm gonna use a little bit of a landscape version of it. You cannot see what it is, but it's kind of like from vertical letter size, I'm changing it to horizontal. Let's talk about the term average as a start. When we talk about average, first thing first, the definition of average is calculating the central tendency of a set of data. That's basically what the average is. Of course, the dictionary definition may be different, but in any case, for this chapter 12, that's how you can interpret this term average. When it comes to average, we have three different type of calculation, and we learned that before. One of them is known as mean. Another one is known as median. And the last one is known as mode. Now, one thing that you need to understand in this chapter is outlier is not a way to find out a central tendency. Average. Outlier, I don't want to make it fall under this category, just for the heads up. These are the method of calculating the average. 1, mean. 2, median. 3rd, mode. So have that in your mind. How can we apply these differently? Let's create a random set of number. Let's say you have 5, 4, 6, 1, 1, 3, something like that. Let's talk about, and you know what? Let's put 14, something like that. Let's figure out using these example. So 5, 4, 6, 1, 1, 3, 14. Let's calculate mean first. So when it comes to mean, you're basically setting up a fraction. You sum everything, then you divide it by number of data. So what that means is this: sum of all data. 5 plus 4 plus 6 plus 1 plus 1 plus 3 plus 14 divided with, I have 7 data, 7. Know the fact that it is important to put bracket. Then you take out your calculator and basically punching the number in. So bracket open, 5, 4, 6, there's a shade, so I'm gonna do just over here. 1, 1, 3, 14, bracket close, divided by 7. And you have this nasty number. And this is one of the reasons why we round it up. Not all the time, but round it up to. Generally, it is a good idea to round it up to nearest to 100. So I can report this as 4.86. That is a good way of showing the mean calculation method. I'm not going to talk about outlier here yet, but in any case, median. Let's talk about median. Median basically require one pre-step. Rearranging the data. What way of rearranging? You may ask. You need to range it as smallest to largest. And that way of arranging is known as ascending order. That's basically what it is. So let's rewrite the whole thing. So the data start with 1, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, then 14. And that's basically your first step. Now next step, you need to locate the midpoint. Now there are two choices. Do we have odd number? Do we have even number of set? If it's odd number, it's a little easier because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that means my fourth one is exact middle because I have 1, 2, 3 on the left, 1, 2, 3 on the right. So 4 will be my median value in this situation. However, let's just say we have an even number data. For example, 1, 1, 4, 5, 6, 14. Now we have even number. This is odd number situation. That's an even number situation because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That means it's somewhere between 4 and 5. Then the value of median is basically midpoint of that, 4.5 in this case. But realistically, this is how you need to find out. Whatever the left one and right one in the middle, you add them up, then divided by 2. So 4 plus 5 is 9. 9 divided by 2, does that give you median value, which is 4.5. So that's basically what it is. On the other hand, let's talk about our last example over here, mode. Mode does require a little bit of rearranging too, although it's not you must kind of method, but it's recommended. So in this case, if you rearrange it, 1, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 14. And basically 1 represented, how can I say, it's the most repeated value, and that represents the midpoint. So mode is 1. So now with that example, if you travel all the way to the left, mean value turned out to be 4.86. Mode was consistently 4. Median. Mode turned out to be 1. Now this is where we need to consider which method works the best to find out the average. And basically you need to now consider what I like to call, it's not under mode, it's just I have a space over here. We have to justify the best average calculation. And the way that we justify, ladies and gentlemen, is basically one of the way that we need to consider is outlier. Another way to consider this entire setup is range. We have to consider these two. Range is basically a gap between the smallest value to the largest value, which is really easy. It's basically 1 and 14. What's 14 minus 1? Range is 13 in this case. 13, however, seems like quite big because of one main reason, outlier. So these two are quite affecting each other. Why outlier play a huge role is because, first thing first, what is an outlier? Outlier is any abnormally small or large value in a data. Do we have anything like that? Let's go to that median since I rearranged 1 to 14. Yes, we do, because the range we picked was 1 to 14. And if you look at the other number, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, these are all smaller than 10. This 14 is extraordinarily large number. So that means we can now decide which method is actually work best. When it comes to outlier, if you have extreme small or large value, median may not be a good, mean will be not be a good choice sometimes, because this 14 outlier basically raise up the average by having that. If I exclude it, then maybe it would make more sense. But in any case, mean at this point, not recommended. What about mode? Well, mode, if you think about it, can you see the smallest value is repeated and it's repeated twice? Maybe it's not the best way too, because in order to be better, first of all, central tendency, you want to see a lot of number repeated somewhere over there too. And in addition to that, out of 7 data, just 2 repeating may not be the best choice. So mode is out too. Median will be the best choice in this scenario. Not all the time, folks. The reason being is, even if I have an outlier, we're talking about the central value. So it doesn't really matter. This is one of the reasons why I did a quick experiment of odd number situation, even number situation. 4 and 4.5, they're close to each other. On the other hand, 4.8 is more close to 5. So definitely the averages went up because of this 14. So ladies and gentlemen, that's everything that I want to point it out for this chapter. Your homework for the review section, I need to snoop around the textbook a little bit. Where is it? There you go. I want you to give it a shot for textbook page 452, 453, any odd numbers, please. So that's a question 1, 3, 5, 7. Don't do even number like 2, 4, 6. I want you to say those.